I think that someone who inspires freedom for me as an artist is Josephine Baker. As much as the time that she lived in wasn't perfect, she somehow lived and expressed herself through her artistic medium, singing, dancing, and everything, dressing, in such a free way that it seemed as though that she was wholeheartedly, fully herself and on a path of discovery, discovering her artistic voice, discovering her ethnicity, discovering what felt comfortable, but also Grace Jones. Well, between them.
Someone who inspires freedom to me would definitely be Stacey Abrams. She inspires me to think outside of the box and stay strong to my convictions. Stacey was defeated as governor, but that didn't stop her from pursuing what she believed in, and she actually ended up doing more than the governor could do. That gives me inspiration to keep pushing forward in all aspects of life, even when the odds may be stacked against you.
Someone that inspires freedom to me, I think, is not, what we typically maybe think of. We think of Martin Luther King or we think of Rosa Parks. And in my mind and in my heart and in my experiences, I think of a Black ballerina named Raven Wilkinson, a ballerina who experienced what it was to be a ballerina in a completely different time than I am, as a Black ballerina in the 1950s, dancing for the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo and not having the full career that she deserved. The woman that I got to know, not just from reading about her or seeing a documentary, but getting to know her, was that she had a sense of freedom that was her soul and her heart, and her mind were free. And to me, that is a freedom that so many people dream of having, especially Black Americans. Raven's ability to continue to have a joy about her and a specific joy and love of the ballet world, even when they didn't accept her. It shows the freedom that she had inside of her, and her story, I think, is so important to include in our history as Black people in this country and what success and freedom look like.
People that live their life to the fullest and embrace themselves fully inspire freedom to me.
When I think of someone who inspires freedom for me, I think of Lauren Anderson. She's one of my biggest inspirations and part of the reason why I began ballet. I think her story also inspires freedom to other young aspiring ballerinas because it shows them that you can be a person of color and still have an accomplished career in ballet.
I think that the upcoming generation is really inspiring freedom to everyone. I think that we're pushing for real changes and we're pushing for full acceptance in any environment. And I think that will make everyone feel a bit more freer in this world and happy to be themselves fully and feel like they can be themselves fully and not be judged for who they choose to be or are.
I feel like many people inspire me, but recently I've gotten to know some other Black dancers from ballet companies around the world, and hearing their come-up stories and their experiences in the ballet world has really inspired me.
Liberation. What does liberation look like in 2021? Liberation to me looks like the ability to recognize the wrongdoings of our history in this country. I think we cannot move forward unless we start there. Liberation is the ability to see, hear, and acknowledge the experiences of Black and brown people.
As of 2021, I think liberation for all people has improved and continues to improve, but there's definitely still a long way to go. One way I see improvement is through people raising awareness of different injustices and bringing them forward, such as by protesting. Protesting and the way that people react to protesters is continuing to evolve. So for me, liberation in 2021 is for people to continue to speak out about injustices and for others to take in consideration how they respond to this, and together evoke a positive change.
Liberation in 2021 for me means detachment from definition and label and anything. I always say that I feel like Gabe, and that fact varies every day. What I like to do, who I like, and I think it's important to always come back to yourself. It's very easy to project your desires onto a thing or a category, but real liberation is the freedom to be yourself without having to keep to the confines of a box.
So in 2021, I would say liberation looks like complete freedom, the ability to feel that you can be who you are, the ability to feel like you aren't being judged differently than the person next to you, the ability to feel like you aren't going to get the same equal opportunity as the person next to you. I think it's full equality, and yeah.
In 2021, the world is changing a lot. The world is changing all the time, every day, but I feel that 2021 is a big mark in the history, and I think that right now liberation is about being yourself, embracing yourself to the fullest, being there and embracing everything around you, breaking free out of these stereotypes and all these cliches, and just not repeating the old cycles, and just being accepted for who you are around the world.
I imagine liberation in 2021 probably looks like how I feel when I'm on stage. And when I'm on stage, I feel incredibly free. I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I feel incredibly safe.
I believe that liberation in 2021 looks like being able to use social media outlets to inform and spread awareness on topics like social injustice. With Black Lives Matter, they were able to organize, mobilize, and improve visibility through the use of social media platforms. Utilizing these platforms for social injustice issues and topics that are important today can spark the change that people are looking to make.
I hope that the future of ballet just continues to push inclusivity and diversity. I think it's important that ballet looks like our world, and our world is very diverse, and it's time that the stages look like that. And I hope that every person is given equal opportunities in ballet world as well. And I think our audiences are going to become more diverse and larger once audience members can see more of themselves on the stage.
For the future of ballet, I see new narratives, not only just being more inclusive, but really highlighting, honoring other people's cultures through our medium, through the medium of ballet, through the vocabulary of ballet, and to really show the depth of culture that you can find when you integrate everything together. That is why New York is a hub. That is why American Ballet Theater is a hub, because we bring in people from everywhere, and America is a melting pot, for lack of a better term, and that always makes the artistic stew taste better.
I think ballet has evolved tremendously, but in the future I look forward to seeing more inclusion and diversity, such as through flesh tone tights and shoes. Many brands have begun to create flesh tone tights and shoes, which is amazing, but I think the next step would be for these brands to continue making different shades, and for ballet companies to give dancers the option to wear flesh tone tights and shoes, and not only for contemporary work, but also for classical repertoire.
I envision the future of ballet as being more diverse and more inclusive. I hope that in the future we can have more stories from Black and brown perspectives.
If I could envision the future of ballet, I would see more empowered dancers that practice the freedom of speech and are able to advocate for themselves and others.
Something that I envision for the future of ballet would be for ballet companies to be more inclusive, and not just because of political pressure. Inclusivity should not just be a soundbite for organizations or companies to use and profit off of. Talent should be based solely on talent and not influenced by skin color.
So, what is the future of ballet? To me, I think the future can only happen once we acknowledge the history of this country and build upon that in order to reflect the world that we live in today, in order to reflect all communities. But ultimately, I think in order to think about the future and get to a brighter future, we have to let go of tradition. Now, when I think about the word tradition, I'm not saying the history, I'm not saying the legacies of this incredible art form and where it started. I think about ballet technique when I think about that history and the origins of ballet, and that did not have anything to do with race, your body structure necessarily. You know, it's an ever-evolving art form, and bodies have changed and shifted, and I think that we have to really reassess what that word tradition means. And to me, that word holds so much grief and pain for people who have been excluded from the ballet world. And I think it's a word that's used to get away with excluding people. The future of ballet is telling stories, everyone's story, stories that reflect who we are as a country and as America, as the United States, seeing a reflection of all of our communities on the stage, but also in every aspect of ballet.